Sairam, dear students, welcome to this new video. Uh, Here you'll be learning about the backward class and Dalit movement, especially many of the movements that occurred in Karnataka, and some you will be learning about which occurred in Tamil Nadu and also Kerala. As you all know, in India we have caste system. Caste system classifies people into four broad categories. They are also called Varna, and there is a sub caste which is called Jati. So the highest level is accorded to in the caste system based on the occupation to Brahmins, and this is an ancient system, as we all know. There is no need to much elaborate on these things, wherein Brahmins spend their time uh, following the rituals and a lifestyle of seeking knowledge. And Brahmin has the power to give suggestions to the kings, to the rulers, and we have seen many such example in our Puranas and many of these stories of ancient India and also medieval India. So Brahmins were accorded the highest place in the society, like India, because in India we always respected people of knowledge more than people of wealth and power. The second highest level was accorded to people who were the rulers, people who could fight wars, who could capture territories, and who could protect, sorry, who could protect the kingdom from enemies. They were given the second highest ranking in the society. Actually, if we see in Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna says all of these people are equal. They are like a different parts of a single Virat Purusha. That's what Lord Krishna says. So all these levels of higher or lower was actually accorded by human beings over a period of time. Different people started mistreating the people whom they considered as lower castes. And there is third category which is called Vaishyas. They are the merchant class, Shetty, uh, Shettis, or many of the Marwadis, and many such groups that we all know who do mainly business and who trade, and they are actually the base of the economy in the ancient or medieval India. And the last category were considered as Shudras, who were actually a pillar or a foundation for any of the economy. They were the ones like farmers, and they were the ones so carpenters, weavers, who did hard jobs. Many of them um, were actually well supported by kings. They were well respected by kings. If we know, they were conferred many of the titles by kings. Kings used to give them large gifts in return for their work. So this all was in ancient India, but as a period of time, over the period of time, these people were discriminated upon by the people of the higher castes. Many have this misunderstanding that only Brahmins actually mistreated the other caste people. No, even any of the higher castes, be it Vaishyas or Kshatriyas, so even they too look down upon people who are so-called Shudras, and other last category who were actually who lived outside the villages, which is so sad to think that they were not allowed to mix with others. They were called Dalits, and that Dalit, um, the term actually is of a very recent um, origin. They were not called Dalits in the ancient India or anything like that. But over a period of time, they were really discriminated. People who cleaned the latrines or street sweepers or cleaning staff, or maybe even butchers, or poachers, people who did menial hard jobs. They were usually kept outside the villages, and this even now we see today in many of the villages. Um, so this is a very sad part, which began as mainly occupation, now has become a part of social discrimination. So this is a brief introduction to caste. So many of the Kannada medium boys already know about what I'm talking. So more explanation need not be necessary in this in Kannada. So we all know that there are many backward castes in government jobs. Many of these scheduled castes and scheduled tribes, they are all given reservations, and they are supported mainly because historically, for many years, they were exploited. They were not given equal opportunities in education or employment, etc. So a butcher's son continued to be a butcher, or a cobbler's son continued to do a cobbler work, and over the period of time, he didn't have the opportunities to do some other work even if he wanted to. So this became a case. So therefore, what happened? This movements began. ಚಳುವಳಿಗಳು ಶುರುವಾದವು. ಏನಕ್ಕೆ? ನಾನ್ ಬ್ರಾಹ್ಮಿನ್ಸ್ ಅಂತ ಯಾರು ಕರಿತೀವಿ, ಬ್ರಾಹ್ಮಿನ್ ಅಲ್ಲದೆ ಇರುವಂತಹ ಬೇರೆ ಕ್ಯಾಸ್ಟ್ಸ್ ಎಲ್ಲ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಡಿಸ್ಕ್ರಿಮಿನೇಷನ್ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇದೆ. ಬ್ರಾಹ್ಮಣರು ವೇದಗಳ ಒಂದು ಪ್ರಮಾಣವನ್ನ ಹೇಳಿ, ಆ ವೇದಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ಬರ್ದಿದೆಯೋ ಇಲ್ಲವೋ ಕೂಡ ಯಾರಿಗೂ ಗೊತ್ತಿಲ್ಲ, ಆದ್ರೆ ಅದರ ಪ್ರಮಾಣವನ್ನ ಇಟ್ಟುಕೊಂಡು ಬಹಳಷ್ಟು ಕೆಳಜಾತಿಯವರನ್ನ ಶೋಷಣೆ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ ಅನ್ನುವಂಥದ್ದು. ಸೊ ಅದರ ಒಂದು ಪ್ರತೀಕವಾಗಿ ಚಳುವಳಿಗಳು ಶುರುವಾದವು. ಸೊ ಮೆನಿ ಆಫ್ ದೀಸ್ ಮೂವ್ಮೆಂಟ್ಸ್ ರೋಸ್ ಅಗೇನ್ಸ್ಟ್ ದ ಬ್ರಾಹ್ಮಣಿಕಲ್ ಪವರ್ ಇನ್ ಇಂಡಿಯನ್ ಸೊಸೈಟಿ, because they saw that many Brahmins had opportunities for higher education facilities, and many of the political um, parties were occupied by Brahmins, and they observed that this system was not fair to them. ಅವರಿಗೆ ಅವಕಾಶಗಳು ಸಿಗ್ತಾ ಇಲ್ಲ ಅನ್ನೋ ಇದರಿಂದ ಆ ಡಿಸ್ಕ್ರಿಮಿನೇಷನ್, ಅಸಮಾನತೆ ಏನಿದೆ ಅದನ್ನ ಹೋಗಲಾಡಿಸ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಈ ಚಳುವಳಿಗಳು ಶುರುವಾದವು. ಸೊ ಇದನ್ನ ಗ್ರೇಟ್ ಸೋಷಿಯಲ್ ಅವೇಕನಿಂಗ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ಬಹುದು. ಇದು ಸಾಮಾಜಿಕ ಒಂದು ದೃಷ್ಟಿಯನ್ನೇ ಬದಲಾಯಿಸಿತು. ಸೊ ಲೋವರ್ ಕಾಸ್ಟ್ ಪೀಪಲ್ ಕೇಮ್ ಟುಗೆದರ್ and they form the group so that they can seek the avenues for upward mobility. Upward mobility ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಸಮಾಜದಲ್ಲಿ ಅವರು ಕೂಡ ಒಂದು, ಎಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ಕೂಡ ಒಂದು ಸಮಾನ ಹಕ್ಕುಗಳು ಇರಬೇಕು, ನಾವು ಕೂಡ ಸೆಲ್ಫ್ ರೆಸ್ಪೆಕ್ಟ್ ಅನ್ನುವಂಥದ್ದು ಇರ್ತವೆ ಅನ್ನೋದನ್ನ ಗುರುತಿಸ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ. ಸೊ ಟು ಗ್ರೋ ಇನ್ ದ ರೆಸ್ಪೆಕ್ಟ್ ದಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಅಕಾರ್ಡೆಡ್ ಟು ದೆಮ್ ಇನ್ ದ ಸೊಸೈಟಿ. ಸೊ ಮೆನಿ ಆಫ್ ದೀಸ್ ಪೀಪಲ್ ಕೇಮ್ ಟುಗೆದರ್, so against mostly the Brahminical ideas. So one such person who is very famous, even in Karnataka textbooks you have studied him. He belongs to Maharashtra, specifically Pune. His name is Jyotirao Phule, or Jyotiba Phule as he is called. He was actually the very first to form an organized revolt. See, many people have spoken against these atrocities, but organized revolt means he brought people together to fight against the tyranny of the upper caste domination. Andre ಹೆಚ್ಚಿನ ದ ಅಪ್ಪರ್ ಕಾಸ್ಟ್ ಅಂತ ಏನ್ ಕರೀತಾರೆ, ಬ್ರಾಹ್ಮಣಿಕಲ್ ಡಾಮಿನೇಷನ್, ಅದರ ವಿರುದ್ಧವಾಗಿ ಫೈಟ್ ಮಾಡಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಜನರನ್ನ ಒಟ್ಟಿಗೆ ತಗೊಂಡ್ಬಂದ್ರು ಅಂತ. ಸೊ ಅವರು he formed a group called Satyashodhak Samaj in 1873. So this is a movement which basically the main intention was to redeem Shudras and untouchables. So untouchability ಅನ್ನ ಹೋಗಲಾಡಿಸಿ, ಸೊ ಹಿಂದೂ ಸ್ಕ್ರಿಪ್ಚರ್ಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇದರ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಏನಿದೆ ಅನ್ನೋದನ್ನ ಅವರಿಗೆ ತಿಳುವಳಿಕೆ ಕೊಟ್ಟು, ಇದೆಲ್ಲ ಸ್ಕ್ರಿಪ್ಚರ್ಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇಲ್ಲ, ಅವರಿಗೆ ಶೂದ್ರಾಸ್ ಅಥವಾ ಅನ್ಟಚಬಲ್ಸ್ ಅಂತ ಏನ್ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ ಅವರನ್ನ ಸ್ಕ್ರಿಪ್ಚರ್ಸ್ ನ ಕೋಟ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಬ್ರಾಹ್ಮಿನ್ಸ್ ಅವ್ರನ್ನ ಔಟ್ಕಾಸ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡುವಂಥದ್ದು ಸರಿಯಲ್ಲ ಅನ್ನೋದನ್ನ ಅದರಿಂದ ಅವ್ರನ್ನ ಲಿಬರೇಟ್ ಮಾಡಲಿಕ್ಕೆ, ಆ ಒಂದು ಮೆಂಟಾಲಿಟಿಯಿಂದ ಅವರನ್ನ ತೆಗಿಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಅವರು ಫೈಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ. ಸೊ ಇದನ್ನ ರಿಲಿಜಿಯಸ್ ಅಥವಾ ಮೆಂಟಲ್ ಸ್ಲೇವರಿಯಿಂದ ಲಿಬರೇಟ್ ಮಾಡಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಅಂತ, ಟು ಫ್ರೀ ದೆಮ್ ಫ್ರಮ್ ರಿಲಿಜಿಯಸ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಮೆಂಟಲ್ ಸ್ಲೇವರಿ. So Satyashodhak Samaj means literally truth seeking society. So what is truth that is told in the scriptures? Is it really that to exploit? So therefore those priests who are basically exploiting the lower caste people, who are discriminating them, who are looked down upon, were told to not give them the accorded respect and not to engage with them. So Fulle did, he opposed the idol worship and the superstitions associated with all the Brahminical rituals. ಸೊ ಈಗ ಬ್ರಾಹ್ಮಣರನ್ನ ಅವರ ಒಂದು ವಿರುದ್ಧವಾಗಿ ಹೋರಾಡಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ ಅವರು ಮಾಡುವಂತಹ ಕೆಲಸ ವಿರುದ್ಧವಾಗಿ ಹೋರಾಡುವಂಥದ್ದು. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಏನು, ಅವರು ಐಡಲ್ ವರ್ಷಿಪ್ ಅಂತ ಏನ್ ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ, ವಿಗ್ರಹಾರಾಧನೆ, ಅದರ ವಿರುದ್ಧವಾಗಿ ಎಷ್ಟೋ ಒಂದು ನಂಬಿಕೆಗಳನ್ನ ಮೂಢನಂಬಿಕೆಗಳನ್ನ ಹೇಳಿ, ಸೊ ಅದರ ವಿರುದ್ಧವಾಗಿ ಕೂಡ ಫೈಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರು. ಅದರ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಈ ಕೆಳಜಾತಿಯವರು ಅಂತ ಏನ್ ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ ಅವರಿಗೆಲ್ಲ ಒಂದು ಮಾಹಿತಿಯನ್ನ ಕೊಟ್ಟು ಅವ್ರನ್ನ ಒಟ್ಟಿಗೆ ತಗೊಂಡ್ಬಂದ್ರು ಅಂತ. ಅವ್ರು ಅಷ್ಟೇ ಅಲ್ಲ, ಅವರು ಹೆಣ್ಣು ಮಕ್ಕಳಿಗೆ ಬಹಳಷ್ಟು ಸ್ಕೂಲ್ಸ್ ಕಾಲೇಜಸ್ ಕೂಡ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರು. ಇನ್ಫ್ಯಾಕ್ಟ್ ಇನ್ ಅ ಕಂಟ್ರಿ ದ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಸ್ಕೂಲ್ ವಾಸ್ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟೆಡ್ ಬೈ ಹಿಮ್ ಫಾರ್ ಗರ್ಲ್ಸ್ ಸ್ಪೆಸಿಫಿಕಲಿ, ಸೊ ವಿಚ್ ಇಸ್ ಕಾಲ್ಡ್ which is in the year 1848. So you see in the picture where a woman is holding book, there is a painting which indicates his contribution to society. So another person who was very influential by Jyotirao Phule was Sahu Maharaj of Kolhapur. So he carried forward, after Jyotirao Phule's demise, he carried forward, he led the movement of Satyashodhak Samaj. He was a king who was a prince of the Kolhapur princely state, and he actually supported the cause of backward classes. ಹಿಂದುಳಿದ ವರ್ಗದವರ ಒಂದು ಅವರ ಒಂದು ಆಂದೋಲನಕ್ಕೆ ಅವರು ಸಪೋರ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರು ಅಂತ. ಸೊ ಸಾಹು ಮಹಾರಾಜ್ ಸತ್ಯಶೋಧಕ ಸಮಾಜ ಇರುವಂತಹ ಇದನ್ನ ಮುಂದೆ ತಗೊಂಡು ಹೋದ್ರು. ಸೊ ಮೆನಿ ವೀಕರ್ ಸೆಕ್ಷನ್ಸ್ ವರ್ ಮೇಡ್ ಕಾನ್ಶಿಯಸ್ ಆಫ್ ದೇರ್ ಡೆಮೋಕ್ರೆಟಿಕ್ ರೈಟ್ಸ್. ಆಗ ತಾನೇ ಡೆಮೋಕ್ರಸಿ ಅನ್ನೋ ಕಾನ್ಸೆಪ್ಟ್ ಪ್ರತಿಯೊಬ್ಬರಲ್ಲಿ ಅದು ಮನಸ್ಸಿನಲ್ಲಿ ಅದು ಆಳವಾಗಿ ಅದರ ಒಂದು ಪರಿಣಾಮ ಬೀಳಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಶುರುವಾಯಿತು. ಎವ್ರಿಬಡಿ ಹ್ಯಾಸ್ ಅ ಈಕ್ವಲ್ ರೈಟ್ ಇನ್ ಡೆಮೋಕ್ರಸಿ. ಸೊ ದಿಸ್ ಐಡಿಯಾ ವಾಸ್ ಆಕ್ಚುಲಿ rooted in the minds of many, started taking root in the minds of people. So he created awareness among lower caste people. So he basically created awareness that you need not be afraid of the higher castes. You can claim equal rights. You have a right to stay in the village. You have a right to worship. You have a right to go to temples, or you have to right for any educational opportunity or any work. So they started creating awareness programs about this, and started schools and hostels exclusively for backward classes or castes. So students who belong to these castes were encouraged to study in these schools. So they need not be afraid or they need not be hesitant because a higher caste person is there with them. So all of them have the equal opportunity to study in the schools. Not only that, he encouraged the communal representation in politics. Communal representation ಅಂದ್ರೆ ನೀವು ಹಿಸ್ಟ್ರಿ ಓದಿದ್ರೆ ನಿಮಗೆಲ್ಲ ಗೊತ್ತಾಗುತ್ತೆ. ಬೇಸಿಕಲಿ ಫ್ರೀಡಮ್ ಮೂವ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಆಗುವಾಗ ಲೋವರ್ ಕಾಸ್ಟ್ ಪೀಪಲ್, ಶೆಡ್ಯೂಲ್ ಕಾಸ್ಟ್ ಅಂತ ನಾವೇನ್ ಕರಿತೇವೆ, ಅವರಿಗೆ ಅವರ ಒಂದು ನಾಯಕನನ್ನ ಅವರೇ ವೋಟ್ ಮಾಡಿ, ಅವರೇ ಎಲೆಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿ, ಅವರಿಗೆ ಸಪರೇಟ್ ನಾಯಕನನ್ನ ಚೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಅವಕಾಶ ಕೊಡುವಂಥದ್ದು. For example, now we have a representation which is universal representation. All of us, be it SC, ST, Muslim, any tribe, anybody can vote. And a person who is standing for election, so he can get anybody's vote. And a person of a SC category can vote to even a person of a general category or a Muslim or a Christian. That is the system we have. But in communal representation, people belonging to scheduled castes were encouraged to nominate their leader and vote for him Only a SC person is allowed to stand, and only SC persons will vote for their representative. General category person will vote for their representative. So therefore, imagine if there is a constituency like Chikaballapur. So all SC people will vote for SC representative. All Muslim candidates will vote for Muslim representative, and only there will be three leaders, maybe a Muslim or a SC ST or a Hindu or a Christian representative. So a Chikballapur constituency will end up having 3 or 4 MLAs. Is that possible? No. So this was the concept which was actually proposed. Communal representation means an SC, the SC category people who belong to the lower caste should have their own representative in the politics. So this is advocated. This was proposed by Sri Sahu Maharaj or Satyashodak Maharaj. This was proposed by Dr. B.R. Ambedkar also. So those who study history, you know that there was a fight between, um, argument between B.R. Ambedkar and Mahatma Gandhi ji for this communal representation. Gandhiji opposed this because he wanted to bring everybody together, but Ambedkar wanted the representation of weaker sections in politics. Now, that is extra information. So this was encouraged by Sahu Maharaj also. And another movement which began was what is called as Justice Party. So this was founded in Tamil Nadu by a person called Nateshan. So this was actually co-founded by another person who is called T.M. Nair. So they are all they belong to non-Brahminical castes. They also revolted against the Brahminical domination. So the Justice Party was formed in the year 1916, and there are many famous people apart from Chettiar, Mudaliar, and Nair. And these are some of the significant personalities who actually were very important in this movement. And they formed a company called Joint Stock Company, India's People Association, South Indian People's Association, in the year 1916, with an objective of publishing newspapers creating awareness to non-Brahminical caste. ಸೊ ಬೇರೆ ಒಂದು ಜಾತಿಯವರಿಗೆ ಅದರ ಒಂದು ಮಾಹಿತಿಯನ್ನು ಕೊಡಲಿಕ್ಕೆ, ಈ ಒಂದು ಡೆಮಾಕ್ರೆಟಿಕ್ ರೈಟ್ಸ್ ಬಗ್ಗೆ, ಅವರ ಒಂದು ಹಕ್ಕುಗಳಿಗೆ ಹೋರಾಡಲಿಕ್ಕೆ, ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಶೋಷಣೆ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇದೆಯೋ ಅದರ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ತಿಳಿಸ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ನ್ಯೂಸ್ ಪೇಪರ್ನ ಶುರು ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ. ಆ ನ್ಯೂಸ್ ಪೇಪರ್ ಶುರು ಮಾಡುವಂಥದ್ದು ಈ ಕಂಪನಿ, ಸೌತ್ ಇಂಡಿಯನ್ ಪೀಪಲ್ಸ್ ಅಸೋಸಿಯೇಷನ್. ಅವರು ಏನು ಡೈಲೀಸ್ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಡೈಲಿ ನ್ಯೂಸ್ ಪೇಪರ್, ಪ್ರತಿದಿನ ಬರುವಂತ. ವೀಕ್ಲಿ ನ್ಯೂಸ್ ಪೇಪರ್ ಕೂಡ ಇದೆ, 15 ದಿನಕ್ಕೆ ಒಂದು ಸರಿ ಬರುವಂತ ನ್ಯೂಸ್ ಪೇಪರ್ ಕೂಡ ಇದೆ. ಸೊ ಅವ್ರು ಶುರು ಮಾಡಿರುವಂಥದ್ದು ಡೈಲಿ ನ್ಯೂಸ್ ಪೇಪರ್. ಇಂಗ್ಲಿಷ್ ನಲ್ಲಿ ಜಸ್ಟಿಸ್ ಅನ್ನೋ ನ್ಯೂಸ್ ಪೇಪರ್ ಶುರು ಮಾಡಿದ್ರು. ತಮಿಳ್ ನಲ್ಲಿ ಡ್ರಾವಿಡಿಯನ್ ಅನ್ನೋ ನ್ಯೂಸ್ ಪೇಪರ್ ಶುರು ಮಾಡಿದ್ರು. ತೆಲುಗುಲಿ ಆಂಧ್ರ ಪ್ರಕಾಶಿಕ ಅಂತ ಒಂದು ನ್ಯೂಸ್ ಪೇಪರ್ ಕೂಡ ಶುರು ಮಾಡಿದ್ರು. ಸೊ ದಿಸ್ ಇಸ್ ಅ ಡೈಲಿ ನ್ಯೂಸ್ ಪೇಪರ್ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟೆಡ್ ಬೈ ದೆಮ್. ಈ ಜಸ್ಟಿಸ್ ಪಾರ್ಟಿ ಶುರು ಮಾಡಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಕಾರಣ ಏನು? ವಾಟ್ ಇಸ್ ದ ರೀಸನ್ ಫಾರ್ ಎಸ್ಟಾಬ್ಲಿಷ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಜಸ್ಟಿಸ್ ಪಾರ್ಟಿ? ಏನ್ ಸೇಮ್ ಥಿಂಗ್, ಕಮ್ಯೂನಲ್ ಡಿವಿಷನ್ ಬಿಟ್ವೀನ್ ಬ್ರಾಹ್ಮಿನ್ಸ್ ಅಂಡ್ ನಾನ್ ಬ್ರಾಹ್ಮಿನ್ಸ್. ಬ್ರಾಹ್ಮಣರ ಹೌದು, ಬ್ರಾಹ್ಮಣರ ಮತ್ತು ಬ್ರಾಹ್ಮಣರಲ್ಲದೆ ಇರುವಂತಹ ಬೇರೆ ಕೆಳಜಾತಿಯ ಜನರಿಗೆ ಮಧ್ಯ ಇರುವಂತಹ ಕೋಮುಗಲಭೆ, ಆ ಕೋಮುಗಲಭೆಯನ್ನ ಹೋಗಲಾಡಿಸ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ, ಅದರ ಒಂದು ಅವರ ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮ್ಸ್ ಏನಿದೆ ಅದನ್ನ ಮುಂದೆ ತರಲಿಕ್ಕೆ, ಮತ್ತೆ ಕ್ಯಾಸ್ಟ್ ಪ್ರೆಜುಡಿಸಸ್, ಡಿಸ್ಪ್ರೊಪೋರ್ಷನೇಟ್ ಬ್ರಾಹ್ಮಿನಿಕಲ್ ರೆಪ್ರೆಸೆಂಟೇಷನ್ ಇನ್ ಗವರ್ಮೆಂಟ್. ಸೊ ಜಾತಿಯ ಒಂದು ಜಾತಿ ಭೇದ ಏನಿದೆ ಅದರ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಫೈಟ್ ಮಾಡಲಿಕ್ಕೆ, ಮತ್ತು ಪೊಲಿಟಿಕಲ್ ಆರ್ಗನೈಸೇಷನ್ ಟು ರೆಪ್ರೆಸೆಂಟ್ ನಾನ್ ಬ್ರಾಹ್ಮಿನ್ಸ್, ಬ್ರಾಹ್ಮಿನ್ಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲದೆ ಬೇರೆ ಜಾತಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಇರುವಂತಹ ಜನರ ಒಂದು ರೆಪ್ರೆಸೆಂಟೇಷನ್ ಪಾಲಿಟಿಕ್ಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇರಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಈ ಪಾರ್ಟಿ ಶುರು ಮಾಡಿದ್ರು. ಈ ಪಾರ್ಟಿ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿ ದೇ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟೆಡ್ ಫೈಟಿಂಗ್ ಪಾಲಿಟಿಕ್ಸ್. They started standing for elections and people started voting for them. So this is, they brought the cause of lower caste people to the electorate. So another famous figure, especially in Tamil Nadu, those who belong to Tamil Nadu will know this name called E.V. Ramaswamy, and he is very lovingly called Periyar. And he was a social activist ಸಾಮಾಜಿಕ ಸುಧಾರಕರು, ರಾಜಕೀಯ ನಾಯಕರು ಹೌದು. ಜಸ್ಟಿಸ್ ಪಾರ್ಟಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಅವರು ತುಂಬಾ ಒಂದು ಇಂಪಾರ್ಟೆಂಟ್ ಫಿಗರ್, ಇಂಪಾರ್ಟೆಂಟ್ ಪರ್ಸನಾಲಿಟಿ. ಸೊ he started a movement called self-respect movement, and later a party called Dravida Kazhagam. So he extended self-respect movement, where he fought against, brought people together to fight against the caste discrimination and all that Vedic ideology stood for, because he was an atheist. He didn't believe in God or anything that Vedas prescribe. ಅತೀಸ್ಟ್ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ನಮ್ಮ ಸಂಸ್ಕೃತದಲ್ಲಿ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಅಥವಾ ನಮ್ಮ ಭಾಷೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ನಾಸ್ತಿಕರು ಅಂತ ಕರೀತಾರೆ. ನಾಸ್ತಿಕ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಏನು? ದೇವರ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ನಂಬಿಕೆ ಇಲ್ಲದವರೇ ಅಲ್ಲ, ವೇದಗಳ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಕೂಡ ನಂಬಿಕೆ ಇಲ್ಲದವರನ್ನ ನಾಸ್ತಿಕರು ಅಂತ ಕರೀತಾರೆ. ಸೊ ವೇದಗಳು ಆವಾಗಿನ ಕಾಲದಲ್ಲಿ ಬ್ರಾಹ್ಮಣರು, ಕೆಲವು ಬ್ರಾಹ್ಮಣರು ಯಾರಿದ್ರು ವೇದಗಳ ಹೆಸರು ಹೇಳಿಕೊಂಡು ಜಾತಿ ಭೇದ ಮಾಡುವಂತಹ ಒಂದು ಬ್ರಾಹ್ಮಣರ ಒಂದು ಮನಸ್ಥಿತಿಯನ್ನ ವಿರುದ್ಧ ಫೈಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ವೇದಗಳನ್ನೇ ಪ್ರಮಾಣವಾಗಿ ತಗೊಳ್ದೀರ ಅವರು ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಹೊಸ ಕಲ್ಚರ್ನ ಶುರು ಮಾಡಿದ್ರು. ವೇದಗಳು ಆರ್ಯ ಸಮಾಜದ, ಆರ್ಯನ್ ಐಡಿಯಾಲಜಿ ಅಂತ ನಂಬುತ್ತಾರೆ. ಹಿಸ್ಟ್ರಿ ಓದ್ದವರು ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ ವೇದಾಸ್ ಆರ್ ಕಾಂಟ್ರಿಬ್ಯೂಟೆಡ್ ಬೈ ದ ಆರ್ಯನ್ಸ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ. ಹಾಗಾಗಿ ಅವರು ಏನು ದ್ರವಿಡಿಯನ್ಸ್, ನಾವೆಲ್ಲ ಸೌತ್ ಇಂಡಿಯನ್ಸ್, ನಾವಿಲ್ಲಿ ಹುಟ್ಟಿರುವಂತು, ನಾವು ದ್ರಾವಿಡರು, ದ್ರವಿಡಿಯನ್ಸ್ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಅ ಡಿಫ್ರೆಂಟ್ ಕಲ್ಚರ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ ನಮಗೆ ವೇದಾಸ್ ಬೇಕಾಗಿಲ್ಲ, ನಮಗೆ ನಮ್ಮದೇ ಆಗಿರುವಂತಹ ಒಂದು ವ್ಯಾಲ್ಯೂಸ್ ಇದೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಸಾಂಸ್ಕ್ರಿಟ್ ಆರ್ಯನ್ ಕಲ್ಚರ್ ಏನಿದೆ ವೇದದಲ್ಲಿ ಹೇಳಿರುವಂತಹ ಇದನ್ನೆಲ್ಲ ಅವೆಲ್ಲ ಸುಳ್ಳು, ಅದನ್ನ ನಂಬಬೇಡಿ, ಅದು ರ್ಯಾಷನಲ್ ಅಲ್ಲ, ಅದು ಲಾಜಿಕ್ಗೆ ನಮಗೆ ಹೊಂದುವುದಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ ಅವರು ಜನರಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು ಇದನ್ನ ಅವರ ಬರಹಗಳ ಮೂಲಕ, ಅವರ ಒಂದು ಸ್ಪೀಚಸ್ ಮೂಲಕ, ಅವರ ಒಂದು ಮೂವ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಮೂಲಕ he brought together. So he basically fought for bringing a new culture called Dravidian culture, which is against the Sanskrit based, Vedas based ideology. Anything that a Brahmin believes in, anything but a core Hindu believes in. So Periyar E.V. Ramaswamy fought against it. So same thing what is explained in Kannada, I am trying to explain in English for the benefit of everyone. So in the year 1944, Dravida Kazhagam was founded, demanding a separate non-Brahmin Dravidian nations. So they said India, all Indians or Bharatiyas, most of the Hindus prescribe Vedas as a ultimate scripture. We don't believe in it. We have our own movement, our own way of worshipping, our own values. So we are not part of Bharat. We want a separate nation. So they actually put forth this idea, not a separate state, separate nation of a Dravidian nation consisting of Tamil Nadu and few parts of Puducherry and all that. So this is Dravida Kazhagam's demand. So today also that party is there, it is extending. I will tell you which party it is. So it was along with Annadurai, Periyar and Annadurai, they formed a movement or a new party called Dravida Munnetra Kazhagam, DMK. So Annadurai took forward Periyar's work, and he fought against the Aryan culture just like Periyar did by forming a party called DMK. You all know DMK is now headed by MK Stalin, who is a Karunanidhi's son. So in 1949, they formed this with an objective of establishing Dravida Nad. So you will be very surprised to know, will be very happy to know that when Swami Satya Sai Baba went to Tamil Nadu, and when Swami gave water to the people of Chennai, Karunanidhi was present. See, the Veda Purusha, whom we adore as the incarnation, had actually gone to Karunanidhi's home, and Swami created a chain and put into one of his relatives and gave it to one of, he asked for one more chain and Swami created one more, supposed to be manifested one more gold chain or something. And he actually openly expressed this. For me, if there is a God and if there is somebody who is worthy of worship, it is Satya Sai Baba. So because he gave water, he is equivalent to God. So later, we saw even his son, MK Stalin, coming to Puttaparthi and taking blessings on many occasions. So what you have to learn is, even to a person who doesn't believe in your values, so Satya Sai Baba, or whom we lovingly call Swami, has proved that you can transform them with love. So this is the lesson that we can learn at this point. Anyway, so this is little bit out of your syllabus, but it is worth knowing it. So these Dravidians or Dravida movement, people who started this Dravida movement, so basically they worshipped their own gods. They didn't believe in any gods prescribed in Vedas, such as Lord Shiva, Lord Vishnu, and many other gods whom Vedas talk about. They didn't worship any of those gods. So those gods which were not prescribed in the Vedas were worshipped by them. For example, Murugan. It's not prescribed in the Murugan aspect is worshipped by the Dravidians. So this we see one example. So this is how DMK party came into came into politics. So other few movements, specifically in Karnataka, so we will just briefly read about them. So non-Brahmin movement started by many in the princely state of Mysore. Okkaligas formed their own association in the year 1906, and Lingayats formed their own associations. Each one of the non-Brahmin castes or people, they formed their own associations to fight for their cause, saying that we have been discriminated and we are not represented by the parties and etc. So many people started their own associations. Later on, they came together and formed a group called Prajamitra Mandali. So all these different groups came together in the year 1917 and formed a group called Prajamitra Mandali. And Maharaja of Mysore actually supported them by instituting a commission called Miller Committee. ಇವೆಲ್ಲವೂ ಗ್ರೂಪ್ಸ್, ಒಕ್ಕಲಿಗರಾಗ್ಬೋದು, ಲಿಂಗಾಯತ್ಸ್ ಆಗ್ಬೋದು, ಮುಸ್ಲಿಮ್ರಾಗ್ಬೋದು, ಬೇರೆ ಬೇರೆ ಗ್ರೂಪ್ಸ್ ಇವರೆಲ್ಲ ಒಟ್ಟಿಗೆ ಬಂದು ಪ್ರಜಾ ಮಿತ್ರ ಮಂಡಳಿ ಅನ್ನುವಂತಹ ಒಂದು ಗ್ರೂಪ್ಗೆ ಒಟ್ಟಿಗೆ ಸೇರಿ ಮೈಸೂರು ಮಹಾರಾಜ್ ಹತ್ರ ಹೋಗಿ ಅವರಿಗೆ ರಿಸರ್ವೇಶನ್ಸ್ ಬೇಕು ನಮಗೆ, ಮತ್ತೆ ಪಾಲಿಟಿಕ್ಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನಮಗೂ ಒಂದು ರೆಪ್ರೆಸೆಂಟೇಷನ್ ಬೇಕು, ನಮಗೆ ಒಂದು ರಿಸರ್ವೇಶನ್ಸ್ ಕೊಡಿ ಅಂತೆಲ್ಲ ಕೇಳಿದಾಗ ಮಿಲ್ಲರ್ ಕಮಿಟಿಯನ್ನ ಫಾರ್ಮ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ. ಸೊ ದಿಸ್ ಮಿಲ್ಲರ್ ಕಮಿಟಿ ವಾಸ್ ಫಾರ್ಮ್ ಬೈ ಮಹಾರಾಜ ಆಫ್ ಮೈಸೂರ್. ಎವೆಂಚುಲಿ they all accepted the demands of these groups. Means these backward castes were given their benefits that they were seeking. ಅವರಿಗೆ ಏನು ಬೆನಿಫಿಟ್ಸ್ ಕೇಳ್ತಿದ್ರು, ಅವರಿಗೆ ಏನು ಅವರ ಒಂದು ಬೇಡಿಕೆಗಳಿತ್ತೋ ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಮನ್ನಣೆ ಕೊಟ್ಟರು ಮಹಾರಾಜ ಆಫ್ ಮೈಸೂರು. Another movement occurred in Kerala, many movements actually. Among them, few important ones are which were anti-Brahminical ideology again. That you will see that in Kerala, what they did, they actually fought against immigrant non-Malayali Brahmins, which means Malayalam ಅಥವಾ ಕೇರಳದಲ್ಲಿರುವಂತಹ ಬ್ರಾಹ್ಮಿನ್ಸ್ ಎಗೇನ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಫೈಟ್ ಮಾಡಿಲ್ಲ. ಬೇರೆ ಒಂದು ರಾಜ್ಯದಿಂದ ಬಂದಿರುವಂತಹ ಬ್ರಾಹ್ಮಿನ್ಸ್ ಯಾರಿದ್ದಾರೆ, ಈಗ ತಮಿಳುನಾಡುವಿಂದ ಬಹಳಷ್ಟು ಬ್ರಾಹ್ಮಣರು ಕೇರಳಗೆ ಮೈಗ್ರೇಟ್ ಆಗಿರು, ವಲಸೆ ಹೋಗಿರುವಂತಹ ಬ್ರಾಹ್ಮಿನ್ಸ್ ಎಗೇನ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಅವರು ಫೈಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರು. Specifically, Tamil Brahmins such as Nambudari Brahmins or what do you call Tamil Brahmins were fought by Nambudari or Malayali Brahmins. There was a very severe fight. If you are actually a person belonging to Kerala, you know that Nambudari Brahmins and Tam Brahmins they call Tamil Brahmins, they don't go together. I mean, it used to be like that. So because many of the Tamil Brahmins were in educational and high positions and public services, civil services, administration, politics, so Nambudari Brahmins or Malayali Brahmins fought against them. So this, they submitted to the demands to Maharaja of Travancore. Their demands were submitted just like people in Karnataka submitted to Maharaja of Mysore. And they were able to at least get some of the representation in Kerala. So in this process, they alienated They brought the cause of Idavas, Muslims, Christians, all other peoples whose representation was not there. ಸೊ ಬೇರೆ ಬೇರೆ ಪಂಗಡಗಳಿಗೆ ಸೇರಿರುವಂತಹ ಬಹಳಷ್ಟು ಜನರ ಒಂದು ಬೇಡಿಕೆಗಳನ್ನ ಅವರು ಟ್ರಾವಂಕೋರ್ ಮಹಾರಾಜ ಹತ್ರ ಅವರು ಅವರು ಮುಂದೆ ಇಡ್ತಾರೆ. ಅವರು ಅದರಿಂದ ಅವರಿಗೆ ಬೆನಿಫಿಟ್ ಕೂಡ ಬಹಳ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಮಟ್ಟಿಗೆ ಆಯಿತು. ಅಂಡ್ ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಈಸ್ ನಾರಾಯಣ ಗುರು, ಶ್ರೀ ನಾರಾಯಣ ಗುರು, who lived during 1856 to 1928. We all know that temple entry movement of Sri Narayan Guru in Kerala. So he actually started a organization called Sri Narayana Dharma Paripalana Yogam. Basically, he preached brotherhood. He was a more peaceful person who basically created awareness how the Brahmins should not discriminate against caste system. Brahmins should allow other caste people to come into the temples, not discriminate against them. So like this, he created awareness through temple entry movements. So he opened this organization and allowed all caste people to participate in it, to put forth their argument. He also encouraged the education of especially the lower caste people, such as Iravas, a depressed caste group of Kerala. ಸೊ ಬಹಳಷ್ಟು ಕೆಳಜಾತಿ ಇರುವಂತಹ ಈಳವಾಸ್ ಅಂತ ಕರೀತಾರೆ. ಆ ಒಂದು ಜಾತಿಯ ಜನರನ್ನ ಮೇಲೆ ತರಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಬಹಳಷ್ಟು ಪ್ರಯತ್ನ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರು. ಸೊ he started schools and colleges throughout Kerala for the benefit of lower caste people. So this is the contribution of Sri Narayana Guruji. Number of temples and rituals regarding marriage, worship and funerals. He encouraged people through this group to actually to take benefit of this group, just like it was encouraged in Arya Samaj. So Narayana Guru traveled widely, helped Ilava people and to develop confidence and education and social awareness, and also taught them how to maintain a hygienic lifestyle. And many of the food habits were changed by him. And not only that, many of the right counsel as to how to have a very ideal lifestyle, so that they are accepted by the society, they are not looked down upon the society. See, he tried to do grassroots works by not only just fighting against the non-Brahmins, but also bringing up the other caste people who didn't have enough awareness. So this is his famous statement called "One caste, one religion, one God for all men." So I hope this rings a bell with Swami's statement that there is only one caste, the caste of humanity. There is only one religion, the religion of love. So basically, these people have fought, they served the society by fighting against superstitions that prevail in the society. So they actually spread the message of love that we all are trying to practice. So these are some of the movements of the backward castes. And as you saw in the pyramid, that Dalits were the outcasts. They were put outside the villages. They were the lowermost caste people. Even today, they get into sewers, they get into drainages without any protection, without any gloves. Whole body will be in the drainage. They swim in the drainage, garbage cleaning, everything is done by them, but they are not given enough respect in the society. So these Dalit movements, many of these movements began long back, fighting against political inequalities. They are called the oppressed classes. ಶೋಷಣೆಗೆ ಒಳಗಾಗಿರುವಂತಹ ಒಂದು ಜಾತಿ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಬಹುದು. ಸೊ ದಲಿತರು, ಅವರನ್ನೇ ಗಾಂಧೀಜಿ ಅವರು ಹರಿಜನರು ಅಂತ ಕೂಡ ಕರೆದರು. ಸೊ ಅವರ ಒಂದು ಸೆಲ್ಫ್ ರೆಸ್ಪೆಕ್ಟ್ಗೋಸ್ಕರ, ಸೆಲ್ಫ್ ರಿಲಯನ್ಸ್ ಗೋಸ್ಕರ ಮೆನಿ ಆಫ್ ದಿ ದಲಿತ್ ಮೂವ್ಮೆಂಟ್ಸ್ ಬಿಗ್ಯಾನ್. ಸೊ ಯಾವ ಬ್ರಾಹ್ಮಣರು, ಯಾವ ಒಂದು ಮೇಲೆ ಜಾತಿಗಳ ಮೇಲೂ ಕೂಡ ನಾವು ಡಿಪೆಂಡ್ ಆಗೋದು ಬೇಡ. ನಮ್ಮ ಕೆಲಸಕ್ಕೆ ನಮ್ಮ ಮೇಲೆ ನಾವು ಡಿಪೆಂಡ್ ಆಗೋಣ, ನಮ್ಮ ಒಂದು ಭವಿಷ್ಯನ ನಾವೇ ನಿರ್ಣಯ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಬೋಣ ಅಂತ ಬಹಳಷ್ಟು ಒಂದು ಮೂಮೆಂಟ್ಸ್ ಶುರುವಾದವು. ಸೊ ಈ ಒಂದು ವಿಡಿಯೋ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಪ್ರೀ ಇಂಡಿಪೆಂಡೆಂಟ್, ಪೋಸ್ಟ್ ಇಂಡಿಪೆಂಡೆಂಟ್, ಇಂಡಿಪೆಂಡೆನ್ಸ್ಗಿಂತ ಮುಂಚೆ ಶುರುವಾಗಿರುವಂತಹ ಮೂಮೆಂಟ್ಸ್, ಇಂಡಿಪೆಂಡೆನ್ಸ್ ಆದ್ಮೇಲೆ ಬಂದ ಮೇಲೆ ಶುರುವಾಗಿರುವಂತಹ ಮೂಮೆಂಟ್ಸ್ ನ ಸ್ಟಡಿ ಮಾಡೋಣ. ಲೆಟ್ ಅಸ್ ಸ್ಟಡಿ ದ ಮೂಮೆಂಟ್ಸ್ ವಿಚ್ ಅಕರ್ಡ್, Dalit movements before independence and after independence. So before independence, basically the movements that can